Hello and welcome to the sweet 16th edition of What the Hell Just Happened, the video blog that's trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, and clean, but not very reverent. I'm your host, Martin Gannapuller. We begin this week in the Circuit Court of Appeals in Washington, D.C. To tell this story, we have to go back to August of this year, when a motion from the Office of Special Counsel Robert Mueller was first appealed. We don't know what the motion was for, since Mueller's office is super discreet, but it pointed strongly at a motion to subpoena a witness. Over the next few months, events quickly moved forward in which efforts were made to quash this motion. A couple of reporters from Politico.com more or less camped out in the court clerk's office. They overheard conversations, they noted the comings and goings of various lawyers, some they could ID, and what they figured out through their research was that the special counsel's motion had prevailed and the appeal had been rejected. That was the first piece of good news. Around this time, Rudy Giuliani, who had been on TV every day arguing against the president being called to testify, just sort of disappeared. Poof! And that was good news number two. After more procedural wrangling, Mueller refiled the subpoena. This would have been around October 19th. Now, it is the policy of the Office of Special Counsel to suspend litigation activities prior to national elections. So what the hell just happened in the D.C. Court of Appeals? Well, the respondents to the subpoena have until November 14th to respond. This is a week after the midterms. One lawyer we know will not be responding is Gregory Katsas. He is a deputy to the White House counsel, and he won't be responding because he's recused himself from these proceedings due to previous involvement with Mueller's office. Now, I ain't a lawyer, but it sure looks to me like Mueller has successfully subpoenaed Donald Trump to appear before the grand jury. Good news number three. But we'll have to wait and see. If the president's feeling a bit threatened, that could explain this next story. Have you ever heard of a guy named Jacob Wohl? No? Well, most people don't know boo about this young pro-Trump conspiracy theorist and financier who stands accused of 14 counts of fraudulent activity in Arizona. So what the hell just happened with this Wohl guy? Besides the fraud stuff, I mean? Well, he apparently owns, or basically is, the Surefire Investigations Agency. Wohl's email and mother's phone number were listed as the agency's contacts. The agency is the source of the allegations that surfaced last week that Robert Mueller was involved in sexual misconduct with various women. One of the women whom he named, Lorraine Parsons, called the FBI and told them that someone offered to pay her if she went on record as being a victim of the special counsel. She, of course, did not, and instead blew the whistle on this guy. So that's the end of it, right? No, wait, there's more. This week, Wohl and his associate and fellow conspirator Jack Berkman held a press conference to bolster these false accusations against Mueller and told reporters that they would provide evidence and an accuser. But the woman was a no-show. Surprise! And the evidence, well, they'll get back to us on that. Wohl and Berkman did use the FaceTime with the handful of reporters that stayed to detail the false allegations, compliment each other, and defend their professional records against charges of conspiracy peddling and political bias. Berkman even called Wohl, quote, a child prodigy who has eclipsed Mozart, end quote. Wow, that's pretty prodigious. I can't wait for the FBI to show us the libretto to this soap opera. And finally, just to make sure I don't leave you with the taste of douchebaggery in your mouth, note to self, watch the questionable mixed metaphors. Anyway, let's go to Modesto, California, where Shonda Benson was walking her dog, Gunther. And what the hell just happened to Shonda and Gunther? Well, they were walking along the Stanislaus River last Wednesday evening, having a game of fetch the stick. On one throw, Gunther followed the stick into the river and got swept up in the current. So Shonda instinctively jumped into the 55-degree rushing water after her dog. She caught up with him, but now they were both hurtling downstream. Shonda tried to go to the shore, but it was this high, muddy bank. Finally, she was able to grab a submerged tree root and stop herself and the dog. The cold water was numbing her. She was losing muscle control, so she just began screaming for help. Finally, she heard a man's voice return her call, and he told her keep yelling so he could find her. And soon the man, whom Shonda later learned was named Gerardo Hernandez, located her. He thought about jumping in to save her, and then he decided that was too big of a risk, so he found a long tree branch and lowered it down to her. She grabbed on, he pulled her up, and then grabbed her by her feet, and she grabbed the dog. Finally, they struggled up onto the flat part of the shoreline. And after a few minutes, he could see they were okay, and he began to walk back towards town with them. She asked if she could take a picture with him, which she then sent to the local newspaper. She called him a brave hero. And he didn't want any recognition or reward. Saving the woman and her dog was good enough for Gerardo. Let's hope in our own lives each of us could step up and be someone's hero. Casting a vote this Tuesday would be a great step in that direction. Thanks for joining me for this episode of What the Hell Just Happened? See you on the next one. Bye for now.